Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahushai. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Jerusalem who are well. Shalom to the hopeful elect. Lord willing, this video is edifying. I'm going to start with the scripture here. Ecclesiasticus 3:2-1. Seek not out things that are too hard for thee, neither search the things that are above thy strength. Now, I bring this out, and this is no disrespect to the brother, but I thought, I'd make a video on it. There's a Jake. He's asked me all these questions, right? And apostles always say, be one deep, don't be too deep. So he's asking me these questions that are, that are above his strength to understand. Because a lot of the times when you speak to Jake and you tell him certain things in the scriptures, it really offends them because is above their understanding. And I said to him, um, a baby crawls and then it walks and then it runs. Now, what you're trying to do is, you're trying to run before you can crawl. Even before a baby does all of that, it first has to be able to hold his head up. Because brothers out there that have babies know, when you hold a baby, you're supposed to support the head, so on and so forth. But yeah, Jake want to know all these things, and I'm looking into it, and I even said to one of the brothers, the good thing about teaching brothers is when you are teaching brothers, you then have to look well to your going. You start having to research because you don't want to send anybody off. And then when you understand something, the one thing about teaching your children, you have to simplify things for them to understand it. But so when you simplify things, you in turn learn from that. And I remember there was a Jake in the world, because I used to be into certain industries, that I wanted to break into. He said the best way to learn is to teach and to be a student. So simultaneously you're learning and you're teaching someone, so you're being taught and then you're breaking down what you're taught to somebody else. And through looking at this and reading the scriptures, I saw this. This is it's called James Madison University. It's called the 613 Laws of Misvot or something, And this is there's Judean, or it's basically Judaism, right? Is their interpretation of the 613 laws. Now, we all know through the spirit that we can't keep the laws in this society, because you might have to work on the Sabbath. You can't wear your fringes all the time, even though you're supposed to wear it to remind yourself, excuse me, of the commandments and the laws. Excuse me, but you can't wear them all the time, because people are gonna be like, "Why are you wearing fringes?" So it's wise, you have to use the word as not abusing it, to not wear your fringes all the time. So certain laws you can't keep. I mean, if somebody commits adultery, for example, you can't put this woman to death, even though that's what you're supposed to do. You can't execute judgment in this society. So what does learning about the laws and statutes and commandments, how is it going to help brothers in this time? But at the same time, we're supposed to keep the statutes and commandments to the best of our ability. But through the spirit, they haven't been codified, because now's not the time for it. The elders, the apostles, the big bros, they know through the spirit that in the kingdom we're gonna be perfect. So we're gonna keep the laws to the best of our ability. We're gonna keep every single commandment, and we're not gonna sin, and we're not gonna break one. But right now, there's no point. Here it is. You want to keep the laws and commandments, and you're wearing mixed clothing. You got a silk cotton mix on your body. Your woman's been popped by another man. You're like the 15th man she's been with in her entire life. You know what I mean? She's had an abortion. You're with that woman. You know what I mean? You're working on the Sabbath. You're not wearing your fringes. You ate some Haribos. You didn't know there's some pork gelatin in that. So we can't keep the statutes and commandments in this time. So again, this goes back into seeking things that are above your strength. But in that, I was reading about, I'm just kind of jumping all over the place with the spirit. I was reading how it says David hands over 5 sons of Michal, Saul's daughter, to the Gibeonites for execution. And that's in Samuel 21. Let me get that real quick. It's in Second Samuel. Uh, is it 21? Yeah, it's 21. Yeah, 21, 8 to 9, basically, right? And it says here that Merab was in place of Michal, for Merab was a daughter of Adriel, right? And then it says here in 2 Samuel 6:23, and Michal, the daughter of Saul, had no children to the day of her death. Saul's daughter Michal was childless to the day that she died, right? But in here, again, it said David handed over, 5 of her sons, because I think it was the Gibeonites. They wanted a recompense basically for Saul putting them to death, uh, putting some of their people to death in his zeal for the Lord, and they wanted recompense of that, and they asked for 7 sons of Saul, and David handed over 5 sons. It says Michal, but it's been mistranslated as Merab, right? And I'll get this before I make my point. It says 1 Samuel 8:19. So it happened at the time of Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel, the Melohathite as a wife. Because Merab was supposed to be given to David first, and then she was given to Adriel, and then he got Michal. So those 5 sons, right, were from Adriel and Merab, but it's been misdiagnosed as Michal, right? And here it says, "Don't abhor or keep third generation Edomite and Egyptian converts from marrying into the Jewish nation," which is going off. All this stuff is going off. And when you look into Deuteronomy 23:7, it says, "Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land." And then when you go into the lexicon, it says Edomi. Other translations are Dumia, which is Edom, right, and Syria. So elder apostle Aramlab says in that translation it was mistranslated into an Edomite, when it's really talking about the Syrians. Thou shalt not abhor a Syrian. So there's certain mistranslations in the scriptures that, if you're not rooted in the truth, it's going to send you off. And how do you explain that to somebody who's just coming into the truth? Because a person will use that to basically say, "Oh, well, you know what, this has been translated, this is a white man's book," so on and so forth. A lot of what we do is through faith, and somebody in the world is not going to understand that, because here it is you want to know everything now, when everything has to be gradually given to you. You want to be free of the white man. I mean, the Lord can't just turn around, just click his fingers, and then all of a sudden you're in rulership. You have to go through things to make you worthy of rulership. You have to go through things to make you worthy of knowledge. And Jake just want to kind of just jump and be as deep as brothers without having to go through anything. If you really want to learn the truth, the Lord is going to basically put you through a grinder. You have to count the cost. Let me get that scripture real quick, because this isn't something for people to just learn. There you go. This is the spirit. This had to come out. I was thinking about the scripture. This is Luke 14:28. "For which of you intending to build a tower sitteth not down first, and counteth the cost, which he have sufficient to finish it?" There's a bit more meat on that, Less happily, after he had laid the foundation and is not able to finish it, all that behold it begin to mock him, saying, "This man began to build and was not able to finish." There you go, And I heard brothers bring this out the other day as well. You want to learn the truth, and then it's sweet in your mouth and it turns bitter in your belly, and now you don't want to follow the truth anymore. What you're really doing is you're heaping coals onto yourself, because the Lord is gonna know that you know this stuff, and He's gonna beat you. with several stripes. He's not going to beat you as somebody who was not unaware. You wanted to learn, but you wanted to learn it for your carnality's sake. You weren't learning it to be, to basically grow in the spirit. You were just learning it just to answer niggas, or just to act like you're deep with niggas of the world. And that's not why you're supposed to learn the truth. You're supposed to learn the truth to be in more order. You're supposed to follow the laws, statutes, and commandments to the best of your ability. There's no point codifying the scriptures right now, because we can't follow every single thing. We don't know what we're eating. The scriptures say you shall go to your enemy for want of all things. And Jake, like a lot of Jake in the world, they don't actually understand, how simple this truth is, but at the same time, how complicated it is. It's truly simple when you look at it, but at the same time, it's not simple. Because this is how the Lord works. The Lord gives life, and He takes life away. The Lord creates all things, and He destroys all things. See, to a simple-minded Jake, he'd say, "Well, the Lord is being contradictory." It's not being contradictory. That's perfection, right? Because perfection is you being kind, but you not being stupid enough to be kind to somebody where it's not going to be fruitful to them. You know, you have to get there fast, but at the same time, you don't want to run too fast and exert yourself. So you take a brisk walk, and you arrive there in a timely manner. Everything has to be done in order. You have to be steadfast. You have to move at a steady pace. You're not supposed to haste. You're not supposed to go slow. This is something that Jake has a problem with. You know what I mean? You're supposed to be balanced. This is really showing how the Lord is balanced in his characteristics, right? Because that's one of the defining characteristics of the Lord. He's perfectly balanced. But to Jake, that's a contradiction, right? This is why the scripture's saying, you're not give me food enough for me. You're not supposed to be rich. You're not supposed to be poor, so that you don't curse the Lord. You're supposed to have food fitting for you. And this is stuff that Jake have a problem with. You know what I mean? But yeah, brothers really have to sit there and actually really think what this is. It's not easy, but at the same time, it's not hard. This is the simplest thing in the world, but at the same time, it's not easy, because you go through stuff. But being strengthened by the scriptures, you're able to suffer these things, and know, your latter end is going to be better than the stuff you're going through. But this is something that Jakes in the world have a real problem understanding, because in Esau society, you get everything now. Everything's an extreme. You want to have extreme sex. You want to choke your chick and stuff things in her. You know what I mean. Everything's just extreme. And the Lord doesn't work that way. The Lord really works in a steady pace. It says to take the narrow path, where you have water on one side and fire on the other side. You know. So you have two extremes at either side, and you're walking a narrow path, and you're keeping a balance between the two. So yeah, I just wanted to go into that real quick. Lord willing, this video was edifying. All praises to the Most High Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the elders and apostles of Jemas who well, Shalom to the elect.